People that don't take ownership of their life and fail to take responsibility become victims. Victims point fingers. Victims make excuses. Victims complain and blame others, and victims don't achieve greatness. You have to make a determination about what kind of man you're going to be in this life. A victim or a man who's a visionary, a man who's obsessed, a man who's stubborn, a man who's persistent, and a man who does something amazing in this one life that he has. Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Crane. Shout out Wonder Mouse Productions for using their studio, and they accommodate us so nicely as always. So today I want to talk to you about the 5 traits of men who achieve greatness in their life. Now listen up, you guys. If you're somebody that wants to achieve something exceptional in your life, if you want to be remembered, if you want to leave an impact and a legacy when you die, you better work to start incorporating these 5 traits into who you are and into your life every single day. Otherwise, you'll probably just die like an average Joe who settled for mediocrity like all the rest. Which kind of man are you? So number 1, when I think of great men who have done exceptional things in politics, in war, for countries, in sports, the first thing I think about is vision. They had a vision long before they created that reality of who they were going to be and the life that they wanted. They had a vision that continued to expand and grow over time as they were moving towards that first idea, that first thought. And most people's biggest problem is they never move towards that vision and they stay stuck. And they expect it all to be perfect before they ever go, before they ever take that first step. Okay? But action breeds clarity. And what that means is the more action you take, the more awareness and clarity you have about where you're going. This is what the individuals who have achieved greatness in their life had done from the very beginning. They just started moving towards this feeling, moving towards this initial thought, moving towards this idea. And that brings me to my second point. They were stubborn in their vision. They didn't let other people talk them out of their dreams and goals. They didn't let people who didn't believe in them at the time cast opinions on them that made them feel bad about who they were and stop taking action. They refused to believe in the naysayers. They refused to believe in small-minded people or listen to them and stop them from moving towards their vision. And there's so many great stories that you hear about people who had a vision, who were so close to quitting and giving up, and who didn't, and who ended up doing something amazing in their lifetime. I think about guys like Thomas Edison. It's reported that Thomas Edison had 10,000 failed attempts and inventions before inventing the light bulb. Can you imagine doing something 10,000 times and continuing to take action because you believed in your vision and you were so stubborn in that vision that you didn't quit and give up, and then you changed the course of humanity forever? There are so many stories like that. Andy Frisella tells a story about having a vitamin shop for like 7 years, making no money before he started to actually make an income. And now he has First Form, which is one of the most prolific supplement companies, and he's one of the most influential leaders in our time today. You guys all listen to him. You all know who he is, Andy Frisella. He never quit. He was stubborn with his vision. There's so many people that come to mind. I mean, you guys have probably heard the famous story of Colonel Sanders, who invented KFC. He was 65 when he finally got that recipe to be bought up and used. 65. He was so stubborn with his vision of who he wanted to be and what he wanted to do in his life that he didn't quit, even as an elder. Most people are collecting Social Security, kicking their feet up in retirement. He wasn't. He was stubborn with his vision. And the reason these men were all stubborn with their vision and the reason they never quit and gave up is because they were obsessed. This is the third trait of a man who achieved greatness. You have to be obsessed with what you want to do in this life. This obsession has to take over your thoughts, your actions, and everything you do in every moment of every day. Otherwise, you're never going to get there. If you're a guy that can kick his feet up for a week and take that week off, you don't want it bad enough. If you're a guy that can just say, oh, I'll do it next week, next year. Oh, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. I'm really going to get serious next year. You don't want it bad enough. You don't deserve it because you're not obsessed, and you're not going to have it because of that. I guarantee that. Obsession is essential to create greatness in your life. Whatever it is your heart is calling you to do, whoever you want to become, whatever the actions you need to take every day, you have to obsess over them. You have to think about them. You have to analyze them. You have to write about them. You have to talk about them. You have to breathe this vision into reality. You have to breathe life into this vision until it becomes an existence. Okay? And that brings me to the fourth thing that I want to talk about. The power of persistence. You will be tested. You will be faced with adversity. You will be challenged every step of the way. There will be failures. There will be stumbles. There will be setbacks, but you have to keep going. The power of persistence means that you never fucking stop no matter what. Until the day you take your last breath, you never quit or give up on that vision and calling that you feel for yourself. This is why these men that I made a comment about earlier achieved greatness in their life, because they had the power of persistence. Imagine Thomas Edison, failed attempt number 5,000. Imagine if he quit and gave up then. Imagine Colonel Sanders, the 30th person he went to show the KFC recipe to. They said no again. Imagine if he quit then. No, the power of persistence. Keep going. Imagine Andy Frisella, 4th year in business, still hasn't made any money. The power of persistence. He kept going. He kept going and he kept pushing. No matter what you go through in life, you can never quit or give up. You can never quit or give up on your vision, on your dreams, and on that person that your heart is calling you to be. If you do, you're going to get to the end of your life and look back and think, what the hell did I just do? I had this feeling inside me about who I wanted to be. I had this desire to do something great in my life, and I just let those dreams and those goals die by the wayside. You're made for more. And that's something that I state often because it's true and you need to believe it. And this is the 5th thing that I want to point out. All men who achieve greatness, they take responsibility for themselves. They take ownership of where they're at in their life. They take responsibility for that vision and that calling, and they make it their own. They don't make excuses. They don't complain. When the economy's down, they're not crying. When they get divorced, they're not crying. When someone's sick, they're not crying. When they're having trouble at work and employees and morale's down, they're not complaining about it. They're not making excuses. They're taking ownership for everything that's taking place in their life. And because of that, they continue to move forward. People that don't take ownership of their life and fail to take responsibility become victims. Victims point fingers. Victims make excuses. Victims complain and blame others, and victims don't achieve greatness. You have to make a determination about what kind of man you're going to be in this life. A victim or a man who's a visionary, a man who's obsessed, a man who's stubborn, a man who's persistent, and a man who does something amazing in this one life that he has. Let's go.